So this is the third day of 8.3. Our big takeaways are finding the vertex. We've been doing that at 8.3a and 8.3b. So what's happening in 8.3c is I'm giving you equations that all can be factored. And that's with the x method, two parentheses, maybe difference of squares. So you only have to graph the two x-intercepts and the vertex. The definitions are on the back on the board there, but since I'm recording, you could just copy it off the front. We've already talked about the x-intercepts. The goal is going to be graph by factoring the equation, the quadratic, every equation in today's notes is going to be factorable. All right, so an x-intercept, the definition, we talked about that earlier in the week, is where the parabola crosses the x-axis. All right, the roots of an equation. So, roots are pretty much the same thing. The x-intercepts or the solutions. Okay. So today, our steps. Step number 1, we are going to make sure the equation is in standard form. Write the quadratic in standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Number 2, factor to find the x-intercepts. Factor to find the x-intercepts. And then step 3, find the vertex. It starts out with x equals negative b over 2a. So, our steps are going to be factoring and then find the vertex. You're only going to be graphing 3 points on these graphs. So A and B, I didn't give you an equation. I gave you a graph. And they have x-intercepts. What are the x-intercepts of A? Where does it cross the x-axis? Negative 4 and positive 4. So those are going to be my solutions, my roots. So I'm going to put x equals 4, x equals negative 4. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry. Does anybody remember when I factored, if my answer was x equals 4, what was the parenthesis that I had that got me that positive 4. So what's the parentheses that would give me an answer of x equals positive 4? What was inside the parentheses? There's a 0 was a part of it, and a 4 actually was part of it. So I had something in parentheses and I put equals 0, and my answer I got would have been as like x equals positive 4. So what was in the parentheses to get me a positive 4 out? This is from like November. So it was x minus 4. Remember when I set that equal to 0? Is that okay? Then another answer was x equals negative 4. What was the parenthesis that would get me a negative 4 answer? Yeah, now you got it. Okay. So I'm kind of working backwards from what you're used to. I need to now make an equation, a quadratic. I want this to eventually say x squared plus da 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 equals. What am I going to do to get the equation from these two parentheses? I have two parentheses, but I want x squared minus something plus something.
Oh, is that an equation?
I want to write the equation from these two parentheses. How would I get the x squared if I had these two parentheses? What would I do to get x squared? Say it. FOIL and distribute. I didn't even see your hand. So I'm going to FOIL or distribute. Anyways, x times x, x squared. Multiply everything by everything. Plus 4x outside. Minus 4x inside. Last, negative 4 times positive 4. Minus 16. Can anything combine or cancel or anything? What? Positive 4 and negative 4 cancel to make 0. X squared minus 16 equals 0. That's the answer to my equation. X squared minus 16 equals 0. So given an equation, I had to make the graph. B, what are my two zeros, roots, x-intercepts? What are they? X equals what? 0. And x equals 2. Okay. Well, in a parentheses, let's be honest, x plus 0 would be like, I wouldn't even put the 0. It's just going to be an x without a 0 in it. But what do I put for if x equals positive 2, what was the x minus 2? So it'll be x parentheses x minus 2. Multiply this, distribute, FOIL, whatever. X squared minus 2x equals 0. And there's my equation. 2 of your problems for homework, you are asked to, given a graph, write the equation. And this is the process you do. Yeah. Because you have a quadratic. X squared plus da 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 da. Whatever, you know. All right, number 4. This is now kind of opposite. I'm giving you the equation and we have to graph it. We are going to factor, and then we're going to find the vertex. How do I factor x squared minus 4? What are the things that make 4? 2 and 2. But there's no middle term. This is like x squared plus 0x minus 4. So there's no middle term, and we don't write the 0x. Nobody writes that. What would the signs be in order, because I need to have no middle term?
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative, opposite. This is called the difference of squares. Plus, negative. So my A equals 1, B equals 0, C equals negative 4. Set each parenthesis equal to 0 and solve. X equals what and X equals what? It's always the opposite sign.
X equals -2 and X equals +2.
X equals -2, X equals +2. So I'm going to plot those points on my graph because they're the x-intercepts. And then find the vertex. Okay, negative b over 2a. Here's my a equals 1, b equals 0, c equals -4. X equals -0 over 2 times a, 2 times 1. Zero divided by 2, what's that? 0. X equals 0. So my vertex is halfway done. 0, comma, I don't know. And I need to, here we go. Okay. Now find the y. Y equals 0 squared. Now you're doing the equation up here, x squared minus 4. This equation, the original. So y equals -4. So isn't the vertex, it has to be in between my x-intercepts. It has to be in the middle. My vertex wouldn't be over here. That wouldn't make sense. So I just found the vertex, 0, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot it. And there you go. Yeah.
Why would the b be 0 and then the c be -4?
Because this x squared, there is no x to the first power term. Usually we have a trinomial, 3 things, a, b, and c. But there's only 2, an x squared in the front and a 4 at the end. The middle is missing. So that's why. On this one, x squared equals 1, I really want it to say equals 0. So I need to move the 1 over. So subtract the 1 and then factor. Pretty confident that you guys can do this. So what 2 numbers make 1? This is called difference of squares. Factor it. Okay, take a break from. Anybody else? You all need to know this. It's positive, negative. Difference of squares. So what does my x equal? You set them, yeah, you opposite sign, guys. -1 and +1. Plot those. So here's my equation. X squared minus or plus 0x minus 1 equals 0. There's no middle term. Again, x equals -b over 2a. A is 1, b is 0, c is -1. So we've been doing vertex all week, so this won't be hard. -0 over 2 times 1. x equals 0. Right? 0 divided by 2, 0. Okay. Then plug in. So I'm going to make it y equals x squared minus 1. I can use the y and the 0 and I can change them out. No problem. Y equals 0 squared minus 1. So I have to solve for y. I have to find the second number in the vertex. 0 comma. What's it going to be? Y equals negative 1. And obviously my vertex has to be in the middle of those two dots. Here it is. Over nothing, down 1. And there's my parabola. Super small, right there. I'm factoring, and then I'm finding the vertex. Okay. We're going to do what we can on the back. Oh, I have 15 minutes. I can do this. All right. I want this to equal 0. Right now it doesn't. Bummer. So how do I get the 32 to the other side? Subtract it. Minus 32. 2x squared minus 32 equals 0. Which would be 2x squared plus 0x minus 32. If I had to make it A, B, and C, you know? How do I factor this? I can't do the x method because there's not three things. Is there anything in common? What's the number in common? What are 2 and 32? What small number goes into those? 2. They're both even. GCF, guys. We can't forget about the old techniques we've learned. I'm dividing. 2x squared divided by 2. X squared. Negative 32 divided by 2. $32 cut in half. 16 equals 0. Now, I'm only caring about the inside the parentheses. The 2, I divided out. So it's just going to stay there, but I'm not going to worry about it or put it back in. I only care about the x squared minus 16. That's what I'm factoring. That's going to get me the x-intercepts. What numbers make 16? I'm hoping this is like getting easier. The list is on the board. What makes 16? 4. So you know that it's going to be 4 and 4, and x, and positive, negative. X equals negative 4, x equals positive 4. And plot those. Then find the vertex. Negative 0, x equals negative 0 over 2 times 2. Zero's on top. So 0 divided by 4. What is it? 0 divided by 4. Huh? Just 0. So my vertex is half done. 0 comma. You guys, where's my vertex going to lie? Like way up here? Up here? Where? Huh? How do I know where my vertex is going to be? In the middle. It has to be in between these two x-intercepts. Then plug in 0. Y equals 0 squared minus 16. I'm plugging it into the equation that I factored. The x squared minus 16. 0 squared minus 16. Negative 16. That's way off the graph, but I could go like way down here, I guess. Make sure it's like a curve, not V-shaped. Okay. Number 2. I don't want the 11 there. What do I do? Subtract it. It's positive, subtract it. X squared minus. I want you to do this one with your people. X squared minus 64 equals 0. So now factor it. 2 parentheses. Check with your neighbors to make sure you're all in the same doing the same thing. And then plot your 2. Oh, we don't have to graph number 3. Never mind.
Yay.
Just find the 2 answers. X equals what and X equals what? What is it? For number 2. We don't have to graph number 2. 8. And? Negative 8. Because it was X plus 8, X minus 8, right? You can do the X equals. You can skip. All right, number 3. Normal factoring. It's been a while. It's a trinomial. What 2 numbers multiply to make 2? So remember, it's multiply to make 2 and add to 3. I mean, if you want, I can also say, like 1 and 1, but they're 1, so. Okay, what multiplies to make 2 and adds up to 3? 2 and 1. Those are my 2 parentheses. X. Oh, are they both positives? Yeah. What are your 2 x-intercepts? No, not 2 and 1. Yeah, negative 2 and negative 1. Now, I'm not graphing these, so that's fine. You can stop there. I just don't have room to graph them all, Number 4. What multiplies to make 8 and adds up to negative 6? Four and 2. Yep. But the signs. No, I want them to add up to negative 6. 4x, 2x. They're both negative. So you set them both equal to 0. X minus 4. Set each parentheses equal to 0. Is this all reminding you guys? We did this back in the fall.
Yeah.
Factoring never goes away. Okay. X equals 4. X equals 2. Plot those. X equals positive 4 and positive 2. Okay, the vertex. X equals negative b. A is 1. B is negative 6. C is 8. Negative b is going to be what? negative 6 over 2 times 1. 6 over 2. 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then what do I do with that 3 to find my y? Plug it in, plug it in. Here's my equation. X squared minus 6x plus 8. Plug in a 3. 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 8. Squeezing it, sorry. 9 minus 18 plus 8. Do it yourself. Table 4, what'd you get? Yeah, negative 9 plus 8. Y equals negative 1. Over 3 down 1. There's my parabola. All right, you really need to do the last one by yourself. Okay, what were your two answers? X equals what and x equals what? 3 and negative 1? Sweet. Positive 3 and negative 1. And then A was 1, B was negative 2, C was negative 3. Vertex. X equals negative 2 over 2 times 1. 2 over 2, 1. So far, so good. Did you do this on your own successfully? Okay. To find y equals x squared minus 2x minus 3. I can put a 0 instead of y. Totally fine to do that. Plug in 1 in for x. 1 squared minus 2 times 1 minus 3. 1 minus 2 minus 3. It's like yesterday's worksheet. Didn't I give you this yesterday's worksheet? No, for sure. Negative 4 over 1 down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, what do you know? It's right in the middle. Oh, wow. If it's not in the middle, then you did something wrong. Oh, good. X'd out. It's no. All right. So your homework paper, turn 1, 2, and 3. Your job is to, just like the beginning of this notes, your job is to write down the x-intercepts, the parentheses, and then FOIL it to get my quadratic. write down the x-intercepts, and then the parentheses and FOIL it. Starting on number 4, you're doing factoring, and then plot the intercepts, and then find the vertex. The directions are at the top of the paper. Just like notes.
So 4 and then 9 back.
Yeah, all the way to 10.
The 4 and 9.
1 through 10. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's 10. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop the video.